everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today for SolarOne's Back to School Showcase. Please take a moment, introduce yourself in the chat. We are going to be using the chat feature throughout the evening. So if you have questions for folks, please feel free to put them there. We have lots of exciting presentations for you all today. So we're going to be going pretty quickly. So yeah, just jump in the chat, introduce yourself, feel free to add any questions throughout the event. And I also just want to plug that if anyone wants to stay in touch with us after this evening, you can email us at development@solarone.org for more information or to learn more about our programs. And we'll also throw that email address into the chat. So welcome. My name is Sara Pidgeon. I am the co-director of programs at SolarOne, and I will be your MC for the evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Over the course of the next hour, you're going to hear inspiring stories from staff members, students, program graduates, and some of our many partners, sharing all about what we do, why we do it, and how it impacts our community. To get started, just some information about SolarOne. So we serve the largest public school system in the entire country with over 1 million students, and several thousand of those students participate in our K through 12 education programs every year here in New York City and also in New Jersey. We help promote and create access to solar power for New Yorkers. Between 2019 and 2020, installed solar generating capacity increased by 1,000 megawatts or 1 gigawatt. That's enough to replace 2 coal-fired power plants. We also help train people for careers in solar installation, green construction, and green building operation and maintenance, which gives us opportunities to individuals and families to improve their neighborhoods while also earning a good living. And finally, as stewards of Stuyvesant Cove Park, we're reimagining urban public space with public foraging and native plant gardening in New York City's floodplain. Over the course of the next 50 minutes, we'll take you for an inside look at the programs and people we work with every single day. And to begin with a warm welcome message for all of you joining today, I would like to introduce Sara Queen, Chair of the SolarOne Board of Directors and Managing Director and Head of Real Estate Equity for MetLife Investment Management.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Sara Queen, and I'm the Board Chair for SolarOne. Thank you so much for joining us for SolarOne's Back to School Showcase. We are grateful for everyone taking the time out to celebrate SolarOne's ongoing programming, some of which is literally back to school, through our educational programming within the school systems of the New York metro area and with our workforce training and certification programs. The last 18 months have been challenging on many levels, and the SolarOne team has regrouped and adapted, responding to the circumstances of the COVID pandemic and the needs of our communities to successfully continue to provide our innovative programs. Our work is for all of New York City, with a focus on communities that have traditionally been left behind and those more adversely impacted by the effects of climate change. At our showcase today, you'll hear from our staff, our partners, key stakeholders, and SolarOne fans. We hope you learn a little bit more about what we do, that you'll enjoy seeing and hearing from some of our behind the scenes teams. And we hope you'll leave the showcase with hope and inspiration about how organizations like SolarOne and each and every one of us can take active and positive steps to address environmental issues and climate change impacts. Lastly, but certainly not least, we want to acknowledge and celebrate Chris Collins's dedication and leadership to SolarOne, both over the last 18 months, but also over his amazing 17 years tenure. Please look out for more information on how we plan to honor and celebrate him. Thank you and enjoy the showcase.
In a time of rapid and widespread change, from the COVID-19 pandemic to increasing impacts of climate change, our world faces global challenges unlike any humanity has seen before. What can we do to ensure our continued ability to thrive on this, our one and only planet Earth? At Solar One, we work every day to help make a sustainable and healthy future possible by investing in people in our New York City metro area, providing the knowledge, skills, and technology to improve our communities and make the most of our collective and individual opportunities. Every day, our Green Design Lab educators help students and teachers to better understand where our electricity, food, and water come from, how our sewers work, where our garbage goes, and how our neighborhoods are being impacted by climate change. Then we offer guidance and encouragement as students craft solutions to the problems they identify and take action. Every day, our green workforce instructors provide hard skills, hands-on training in the broader energy fields to people experiencing all kinds of obstacles that may have prevented them from obtaining a steady career, such as involvement with the criminal justice system, homelessness and housing insecurity, chronic underemployment, and lack of access to the means to create a better life for themselves and their families. Every day, our Here Comes Solar team works with affordable and public housing organizations to make sure that everyone who wants it has access to affordable solar energy, creating clean, resilient, and sustainable places to live and work. Every day, visitors to Stuyvesant Cove Park can renew their relationship with the natural world and learn how that relationship with plants, insects, and animals, both native and introduced, can improve our quality of life and the way we experience our city. Every day, there's so much to be done to advance towards a more viable, life-supporting, and equitable future. And every day at Solar One, this is what we do.
We are really happy to share that video with you today, providing a snapshot of our programs and the impact we're having across the metro area and in communities. And we're excited for everyone to see and learn even more about our programs over the course of the next hour. So one of the things that we are also celebrating today is Solar One's strength and reach as an environmental education organization, providing information, skills, knowledge, and solutions to the impacts of the climate crisis and building awareness of the role that each of us can play. Much of our success and focus is thanks to the leadership of our Executive Director, Chris Collins, here to welcome you and share further information about us and our programming. Turn it to you, Chris.
Hi, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us this evening for this event. In my 17-year tenure as Solar One's Executive Director, climate change was really only a blip on the mainstream radar when we started back in 2004. Our little Solar One building was the only standalone solar powered building in New York City. Today, the roofs of Stuyvesant Town across the street are covered with 9,000 solar panels generating 3.9 megawatts of clean power. And Solar One helped make that project happen, along with many more across the city. Over the years, we've watched our work in schools, with homeowners, building operators and renters, and with job trainees become even more relevant and in demand. In the bigger picture of the climate crisis, our role is to develop and pioneer on-the-ground strategies to help us cope with a rapidly changing world. With great organizations like the Natural Resources Defense Council, Vote Solar, the New York League of Conservation Voters, they all work through the courts, elections, and advocacy to promote the changes we need to thrive into the future. Solar One brings those higher level efforts down to where people can actually bring those changes to their own communities, one neighborhood at a time. Both New York City and New York State have set ambitious climate goals within the last few years, and we look forward to continuing our partnerships with NYSERDA, the Mayor's Office of Sustainability, HPD, the MTA, and all the government agencies and entities that we work with to transform future ideas into present day realities. One of the most potent examples of this is the work currently being done in Stuyvesant Cove Park for the Eastside Coastal Resiliency Project, and our plans for the future Solar One Environmental Education Center, which will serve as both a beacon of sustainability and resiliency within the East River floodplain, and a possible blueprint for other threatened communities to replicate. And of course, we can't do any of these things, and we wouldn't be able to do any of these things without our incredible staff, who are experts and bring absolute dedication to our mission and our programs. And we can't do any of these things without your generous support, the support of our sponsors and supporters. I want to thank tonight and express my gratitude for the generosity of tonight's event sponsors. Con Edison, who's been sponsoring our event for the last 15 years, Terry Henneke and Mike Ross, the Marietta and Andrew Romay Foundation, Best Energy Power, Brooklyn Solar Works, Inclusive Prosperity Capital, PKF O'Connor Davies, Natural Resources Defense Council, Patricia and Stanley Grayson, and of course, all of you who have joined us today. It is my great honor to introduce our City Councilman, Keith Powers, who prepared remarks in advance of tonight's event. Councilmember Powers has been a steadfast supporter of Solar One since he was elected to the City Council 5 years ago. He helped us with the massive changes happening at Stuyvesant Cove Park with the Eastside Coastal Resiliency Project, and he supported our Solar One Environmental Education Center that has been paused due to COVID, but that should get back in design into the next few months. And for the past few years, Keith has also secured program funding for Solar One in the City Council budget and through the Greener NYC initiative of the City Council. We're deeply indebted to him for all he's done for us over the years. Keith is incredibly thorough and helpful as a city councilman, and he regularly finds creative ways to get things done and make things happen. Please welcome Councilmember Powers.
Hi everyone, it's City Council Member Keith Powers, and I'm so proud to be joining you here today and so proud to support Solar One, who I am so grateful for the work that they're doing in the community here in Stuyvesant Town, but also throughout the city, and the leadership and the capacity building they're doing for our city. We have seen the recent weather events that have proven again how much we need to be doing to invest in fighting against climate change. And Solar One is doing that work. They're building environmental literacy, they're training the next generation, they're teaching us about how to be best prepared and to be best invested in fighting against climate change. So I want to say just thank you as always to Solar One and Solar Two and everyone working there, and welcome back to school. And of course, I'm so happy to be watching the next generation be getting the tools that are going to help our city and our country and our world fight against the really important challenges of climate change. So thank you and enjoy. And again, hope to see you around. And thanks to everyone who's doing such important work here in the city.
At this point, I'm also delighted to introduce our next speaker, John Shea. John is the CEO of the New York City Department of Education Division of School Facilities. As if managing 1,800 plus schools and 1,300 plus school buildings under unimaginable COVID challenges weren't enough, John also oversees the Department of Education Sustainability Initiative. I like to call him a founding supporter of the Green Design Lab program because in New York schools, in the New York City public schools, because without his help, we wouldn't be where we are today. John has been there since we started the program and has supported us consistently over the last 10 years. And despite his incredibly busy schedule, he always finds time to help Solar One and many other nonprofits who work their magic within the Department of Education. I'm in awe of his accomplishments and look forward to seeing how we can continue to work together well into the future. Please join me in welcoming John Shea.
Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate that intro, and I'm happy to be here live with Solar One tonight. So first, I'll start out. Thank you so much. Congratulations on your retirement announcement. You've been such a terrific leader for Solar One over these many years, and a personal friend to me, and I'm really going to miss you. But let's talk about Solar One. When I arrived at the Department of Education in 2008, sustainability was something that everyone talked about, but we weren't really very active participants. And just the word sustainability meant different things to different people. Some thought it was recycling, energy conservation, greenhouse gas reduction. The list was long and there was no real central focus for this work. So we created the sustainability initiative at the DOE to make sure that we were not only were our buildings efficient, but that we could leverage who we are as an educational institution to make sure that our students could learn those important lessons. And Solar One's been so important in that work. I've always been passionate about this issue since I was a little kid. I used to go fishing with my grandfather in the Great South Bay, but at some point we stopped because there were no more fish. And it was a real life example of the core problem we face. We can debate the science of climate change, but there's no doubt that human beings have a significant impact on their environment and whether or not we have the resources to survive on a planet with 7 billion people now, and hopefully I'll live to see 9 billion. And that's why Solar One is so important. Our partnership with Solar One and the Green Design Lab program has been instrumental in training the next generation of climate scientists that can help us live and thrive. Green Design Lab has trained 133 teachers and over 4,300 students since it began, and the results are just incredible. The Department of Education is so excited to see Solar One continue to grow with the construction of the new Solar 2 building that will give our students another great opportunity to learn and grow. And we're also looking to strengthen our partnership with Solar One and our career and tech ed programs. So we got a lot to look forward to. I'm really excited about it. Thank you, Chris, and the entire Solar One team as we move forward together into our new future. Thanks for having me and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate those kind remarks, both personally and professionally for the organization. You've been an amazing supporter over the years, and we really, really appreciate it. I'm going to turn this back over to Sara Pidgeon to pick it up from here.
Thank you, Chris. And I would also just echo what you said, Chris, and thank you so much, John Shea. Partnering with the Department of Education Division of School Facilities has really been such an amazing experience and has allowed us to reach thousands of teachers and thousands of students with professional development training, classroom programs, and it's honestly been such an honor to work alongside you for all of these years. With that, I would now like to introduce Green Design Lab educator and workforce instructor, Giovani Caldero. Gio leads our solar career and technical education program for high school students and has helped to prepare hundreds of New York City students for solar careers. Not only that, he also heads one of our major summer programs, which he's going to tell you a little bit about. So please welcome Gio and two student interns from this past summer, Andrea Vicente and Ambrose Hillana McLeod, who will tell you a little bit about our Green Design Lab program. Thank you.
Thank you, Sara. How are you doing, everyone? Thank you for being here. As Sara mentioned, my name is Giovani Caldero. I am one of the instructors at Solar One since 2017. And I am pleased to announce that I am here with good company, Andrea Vicente and Ambrose Hillana McLeod. They were two of my students before I introduced them formally. I am going to explain a little bit what this program during the summer was about. First, I teach alongside with one of my co-workers, Bruno Estrada. He might be here in the audience. Hello, Bruno, if you're here. So we partnered also with other organizations that we work with together. And this program was special because it was like a hybrid program, and we started 2 weeks offering GPro. That's the Green Professional Certification to our students. And for that, we have the help of the workforce instructor, Josh Better, and he talks about and he explained the certification of fundamentals of building green that happens through the first 2 weeks of the programs. Then we moved to in-person solar installation training at Boys and Girls High School to finally do a semi-permanent structure installation for a community garden in Bushwick. And there we partnered with Riceboro Community Garden, and we have a little bit of help from Alex Nathanson, one of the consultants that we have at Solar One. So with this, I want to introduce you to Andrea Vicente and Ambrose Hillana McLeod. Please introduce yourself, your name, pronouns, and your education. They are in college now. Welcome.
Okay. Hi, how are you? I hope everybody's well. My name is Andrea Vicente. Over the summer, I interned with Solar One and worked with Giovani and Bruno, which I enjoyed a lot. Recently, I got accepted into Fordham University and I am a freshman. I'm studying business administration with a concentration in entrepreneurship.
Nice. Ambrose, welcome.
Hi, I'm Ambrose Hillana McLeod. I currently go to CCNY and I study business, and I worked with Gio and Bruno over the summer with Solar One.
Now we are going to talk a little bit about this experience. Ambrose, I'm going to start with you. Can you describe a little bit what was your expectation before the program, or how can you describe your overall summer experience with us?
Okay, so for the summer, I expected to work somewhere else, so I was surprised when I was placed with you guys. But I very quickly realized that it would be really useful because the industry that I want to go into after college is the culinary industry. And a big problem with that is a lot of restaurants close in the first couple of years. And when you build greener buildings, the cost of owning the buildings goes down by a lot. So I was thinking to push that, since the culinary industry is already interested in sustainability, that that would help restaurants go for the long run.
Thank you so much. Andrea, I want you to share your experience that you were sharing with me before. Some of the things that you enjoy the most when using tools and powering your own cell phone with the installation that we did. Can you share with us how do you feel about that experience?
So when I first got placed into the program and I learned that I was working with solar panels, I was a little bit scared because I never really worked with any type of anything in that field. The only green fields I would work in is conservation. So when I heard that we were going to install solar panels, I imagined like it was going to be something very complicated and I wouldn't be able to fully do it. But with the training provided by Gio and Bruno, I did feel a lot more confident. When we were hybrid, so when we started doing in-person work, we got the opportunity to work with solar panels. And with those solar panels, we learned how to connect negative and positive cables, how to cut wires, how to put connectors together. And by the end of the week, we installed a solar panel on rails and we did all the wiring ourselves. And the joke was that who's going to power their cell phone with our solar panels? And but nobody wanted to power the cell phone because nobody was really confident in their work since we were all young adults. So when it came to my turn to test out my solar panel and Gio offered his phone to charge, it turned on. And for me, it was such a confidence boost because I never really worked with any type of tools and that type of hands-on opportunity. So by me doing all the wiring and being able to power a phone, it just gave me the confidence to know that maybe an encouragement to maybe go into that solar field or maybe in construction.
Thank you, Andrea. As I mentioned before, we were partnering with Riceboro Community Garden, and I want to switch to Ambrose now. What do you enjoy the most when we were working in a community garden, or how do you think this structure that we built is going to help the community that lives surrounding the community garden?
Okay, so I remember that the owner of the garden was talking about when there's extreme weather conditions and everyone has power outages, that because most people in the neighborhood don't have solar panels or anything to produce power, they go to the community garden because they have the solar panel that produces power. They can charge their electronics if they have something important to do, like for work. You know, electricity in general is really important. So there's also a stove over there and it powers tools. So it's really useful for the community.
Thank you so much.
That was like my favorite anecdote from the community garden.
Yes, I remember that we partnered with that organization and they have also students doing internships. So we did an exchange of information. Andrea was able to teach them about solar and we were able to learn about gardening. This is the last question for you, Andrea. Do you recommend this program to others, or are you interested yourself in pursuing a career or internships in energy efficiency or solar energy in general?
So as I said before, the fact that of the phone charged from the solar panel I connected, it did boost my confidence, and it did open my eyes to the opportunity of going into that field. Because before I didn't really, I felt a little bit intimidated going into that field since I didn't have any background knowledge. And I do definitely recommend this program. I think Gio and Bruno made this a very enjoyable experience. It wasn't just that I was going into work because I had to, it was like a responsibility. It's because I actually genuinely enjoyed learning because of the environment that they founded. And apart from that, I feel like most teenagers nowadays, we all say, oh, we have to improve our methods of living and to conserve our world, and we really don't know how to start with that. So I feel like opening our eyes to these opportunities, for example, switching into solar energy or other methods taught throughout the program, is just it's just an amazing opportunity to open our eyes. It's not, yeah.
Thank you so much, Andrea and Ambrose. Now I will pass the mic back to Sara. Thank you so much. And I wish you all the best in your future endeavor in college now. We are here to help as well. Take it away, Sara. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Andrea and Ambrose. It's very inspiring. It was a really crazy summer, and I feel like I was so excited to see all of the photos of the solar charger that you built in the community garden, and also of the practice installation that you all were able to do at Boys and Girls High School. And actually, speaking of which, if anyone would like to see photos of those systems, you can check out our Green Design Lab Instagram account, which we will throw in the chat in a moment, but it's at Green Design Lab, at Solar One Green Design Lab. Again, we'll put that in the chat, and you can see photos of all the work that Ambrose, Andrea, and Gio did over this summer. So thank you so much. And I also just want to thank everyone again for joining us here tonight. Thank you to all of you who supported us with a donation. And if you feel moved to do so, please help us reach even more students and even more interns this summer with an additional donation. Thank you for all you do. We are going to add the link into the chat. We're going to post it here again throughout the event. Again, if you'd like to make another donation to support programs like the Green Design Lab, like our Career Clue summer internship program, feel free to do so. And now, please welcome Cullen Howe, Clean Energy Advocate for Renewable Energy at the Natural Resources Defense Council. NRDC is an international nonprofit environmental organization with more than 3 million members and online activists. Thank you for joining us, Cullen.
Thank you, Sara, and thanks to the entire Solar One team for inviting me here tonight to speak. So as Sara indicated, I am a senior attorney and renewable energy advocate at NRDC. My work focuses on advocating for policies at the federal, state, and local level that increase the amount of renewable energy like wind and solar that we can use to power our homes and vehicles. My work also focuses on making it easier for all of us to participate in this clean energy revolution. So for example, this work includes working on policies that make it easier and cheaper to put solar on your house or your apartment building, or to subscribe to a community solar project. It also includes ensuring that the jobs that are created in the sector have living wages and are available to everyone, including those folks who live in communities that have thus far shouldered an unfair burden of our dirty energy policies and are also likely to be impacted the most as our planet continues to warm. And I think we've seen some examples of that in the last few weeks. So one of the reasons I love Solar One so much is because its programming is directly related to the work that I do. And I'll mention a couple of their programs. The first one is Solar One's Here Comes Solar program, which I think Noah Ginsburg is going to speak a little bit more about later on in the program tonight. It works with affordable housing providers, environmental justice groups, and low-income communities to adopt solar, which has the effect of both growing the solar market and also increasing access to the environmental, economic, and health benefits of clean energy. This work is key for our city to help meet the climate and clean energy requirements of New York's landmark Climate Leadership Community Protection Act, and also to reduce and eventually end our dependence on fossil fuels. Particularly the natural gas peaker plants in Queens and other places in New York City that disproportionately impact low income and environmental justice communities. In addition, for the past 11 years, Solar One's green workforce training has worked with unemployed and underemployed adults to equip them with the skills they need to participate in the very high growth fields of renewable energy, energy efficiency, green construction, and green building operations and maintenance. To date, the program has trained over 4,000 people and has achieved an average job placement rate of 70%, which is really incredible. And this training is crucial because as we transition to a clean energy economy, we want to ensure that we provide the education and training necessary to allow everyone to participate in it. From my vantage point, Solar One is an incredible organization that has only scratched the surface in terms of its impact. So thank you very much for letting me be part of this great event.
We really appreciate your participation this evening, and thanks for the kind words. It's really helpful to hear your comments, and I think it's important to link our programs to the bigger picture efforts in the transition to renewable energy. Next, I would like to welcome Stephan Roundtree, Solar One board member and Northeast Director for Vote Solar, the national solar advocacy organization that Solar One worked closely with to help pass New York State's first net metering law. Thank you for joining us, Stephan.
All right, thank you, Sara. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to everyone who's joined the event this evening. Like you said, my name is Stephan Roundtree, member of the board, Northeast Director with Vote Solar. I'm also a Northern Manhattan resident. I want to just say a few words about why Vote Solar's Solar One, mission and work are so important to the climate and the social future that we need. So, like Cullen, I'm a policy advocate and also an attorney. Working here at the state level in particular, as well as the New England states, to keep pushing for the biggest, fastest, and most just transition to a green economy that we can make. It sometimes involves a more macro level analysis of what the state and what the utilities need to give back to residents in order to build the economy and the society we need, right? So while successes in this realm set the table, Solar One is an organization that makes change real where people experience it, where we consume energy, where we learn, where we grow up, and where we're experience sickness or health. Solar One is truly standing at the vanguard for building community strength in the face of our uncertain climate future. Solar One is a uniquely outstanding community partner. And the work that the staff does with trainees, building stakeholders, and the solar industry is literally changing the face of our city and positively impacting countless people's lives through employment, education, and all the benefits of solar on your roof. I had the pleasure of working closely with the Here Comes Solar team. That's Anika, Noah, Juan, on a first of its kind dense urban core solarized campaign with affordable co-op buildings. And really, from this, really resourceful and brilliant team, I think I was convinced of two things. One, that this is how you change the world. And two, that I wanted to get involved as a board member. I think it's telling too, that just today, we got the current event here, just today, Governor Hochul announced a $36 million program to establish and support regional clean energy hubs. Right, the governor recognized that powering the transition to renewables takes not only the right regulatory framework, and it does take that too, but it's going to require transition to be people-driven and relationship-driven. It's going to require trusted, creative, and determined support for making the dream of a just transition a reality. And there's Solar One. right? This has been the vision since 2004, and the work, the lives of the trainees, school children, co-op residents, the results speak for themselves. I am jazzed as hell to be a member of this community and a supporter of Solar One's mission, and I thank you all for your continued support.
Stephen, thank you so much for the kind words. It is, so timely, and it's really, it's just so nice of you to say, and acknowledging the work that we're doing here at Solar One to make that just transition a reality for our students, for our workforce trainees, and for the folks that we work with through Here Comes Solar. And with that, I would like to welcome Noah Ginsburg, co-director of programs at Solar One and the director of our Here Comes Solar program. Noah has been leading Here Comes Solar since 2016, and he tells us that one of his favorite things to do is to actually get up on the rooftops and work on these solar installations in real life. So we're really glad that's part of his role, and I'm glad to be working alongside of him as co-directors of programs at Solar One. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Noah.
Great. Thank you so much, Sarah. And thank you everyone for being here tonight. Like Sarah mentioned, I'm director of our Here Comes Solar program, co-director of programs at Solar One. We launched Here Comes Solar in 2014 with the goal of making solar power accessible to all New Yorkers. Our program model is designed to catalyze and develop solar projects really in partnership with affordable housing and community organizations in New York City, really kind of throughout the region. Over the last 7 years through Here Comes Solar, we've developed 24 megawatts of solar. That's primarily on affordable housing and in disadvantaged communities. That's a $70 million investment in our communities to build local clean energy systems, create jobs that can't be outsourced, and to create jobs that can be available to those job trainees that come through our workforce training program. I was told that I have one slide, and so the slide that I put up is our team, because that really is the heart and soul of the work that we do. Everyone who is part of the Here Comes Solar team works hard day in, day out to make these solar projects real, to bring them to life, to overcome the many barriers that exist to solar in a low-income context. So you're going to hear a little bit more about our work from our program directors. First, Angelica Ramdhari, who directs our Resilient Solar program, then Anika Wistar-Jones, who directs our Affordable Solar program, and last but certainly not least, Juan Parra, who directs our Community Solar program. Thank you.
Hey everybody, I am Angelica Ramdhari, and I am the director of the Resilient Solar program. In some ways, resilience means many things. Resilient solar means being able to use solar when the grid goes down, but for our program, resilience has meant enduring through many, many years of challenges in building projects. So we started in 2016 working with the Governor's Office of Storm Recovery with funding from HUD to develop solar plus battery energy storage projects for community facilities in coastal areas of New York City. Because of FDNY regulations and different building challenges, we have been working through permitting and all sorts of hurdles to get these batteries installed. You're not going to find very many battery systems in New York City because it's so dense and urban, and there's tons of concerns about the safety for people. But my team has been really working with developers to make those challenges much easier, and we are very excited to announce that we'll have one of our first few systems go up in the next couple of weeks. So since we don't have anything really to show you, this is actually a model of the Brooklyn Public Library at Coney Island. This was a facility that was super damaged by Sandy. So what we're doing here is installing a solar canopy on the roof. It's going to be quite large. And then this little piece of equipment in the back that looks like a filing cabinet or a refrigerator is actually an energy storage system. So in this cabinet, you'll have 6 batteries that will be able to provide power for this Coney Island community for endless days, because the solar power system will keep recharging it and they'll be able to keep using it as long as their power's out. So really important to help with increasing equity and access to charging and electricity after the grid goes down. And I will pass it over to my good friend, Anika.
So I want to tell you about the Affordable Solar Program. I'm the director of Affordable Solar in Here Comes Solar. We have been incredibly busy this year. The New York City Department of Housing Preservation and Development, basically the affordable housing in the city, launched the Solar Where Feasible program, which requires that all city funded affordable housing install solar wherever it's financially beneficial. And Solar One is the official technical assistance partner for HPD. So this year we've helped 190 buildings figure out their solar viability. And we've run competitive procurement for 22 buildings so far with 3.8 megawatts of solar just in that one program. And then this May, the New York City Accelerator also launched or relaunched its program, which provides comprehensive technical assistance to help buildings make all sorts of energy efficiency upgrades and reduce carbon emissions to line up with the Climate Mobilization Act. And Solar One is the solar specialists for the accelerator. So through that, we've provided technical assistance to over 60 buildings and run procurement for 1.5 megawatts across 17 buildings just since the program's launched. And that's not to mention the ongoing work that we continue doing with our other nonprofit partners like We Act and UHAB and Joe NYC and Enterprise, much of it funded by pre-development grants from NYSERDA. And all of this work is really making solar accessible to low-income homeowners and nonprofit affordable housing. So I spotlighted a couple of projects, one from the HPD program, one from the Accelerator program, and they're just two examples of the many, many projects that we've been working on. The next slide, maybe the most important thing is that we've been growing. This year, we've hired 5 new people in the Here Comes Solar team. And it's so exciting to have new people in our group and watch new solar installations pop up all over the city. So I'm so happy to be doing this.
Hey everyone, my name is Juan and I'm the director of the Community Solar Program here at Solar One. Community solar is a very unique type of solar energy where basically anybody could join a solar energy project that's located somewhere else in New York City. So you could save money with solar energy without putting anything on your roof. This type of solar energy allows us to break down a lot of the traditional barriers to getting solar energy and to saving with solar energy. Because most people in New York City, as long as you're a Con Edison customer, you could sign up to a project and save money that way instead of putting solar on your roof. So this opens up access to groups such as renters who usually don't have that decision-making ability to get solar on their roof, and other folks who otherwise might not be able to get solar, maybe because of financing constraints or physical roof constraints. And so with community solar, we aim to maximize the local community benefits within our projects. All of our projects that we work on are in partnership with local community-based groups. And we also try to structure our projects so that there's some type of decision-making, ownership, and control over aspects of the community solar project from the local community. Moreover, we also try to incorporate workforce development opportunities into our solar energy projects. And that's in cooperation with both community partners and internally with our workforce development program. So I wanted to highlight one of our projects that we've been working on this year, which is called Community Power. This is a 1.2 megawatt community solar project. It's installing solar energy on public housing, on NYCHA housing across the city. There's 3 campuses, one in Upper Manhattan and 2 in Brooklyn, that are getting solar energy systems for a total of 40 buildings. So it's a great use of underutilized public space. And the image here is one of the campuses, which is the Glenwood NYCHA development that is wrapping up construction as we speak. The 1.2 megawatts of solar energy can support around 500, as we call subscribers or participants to the community solar project. Something that makes it unique is that this project is exclusively for low and moderate income households in New York City. So all the participants that are signing up with this program are saving money with solar energy and not putting anything on the roof. In addition, we're able to train 25 NYCHA residents in solar energy with our workforce training program. And 15 of those trainees were hired on the installation as paid apprentices for this project, which was a installation period of nearly a year at this point. And now we're working on permanent job placements for those apprentices, as we call them, for this project. And what's most important is that none of our projects can be completed without the partnership of other groups. So we partnered with a variety of groups for these projects, including nonprofit, energy cooperatives, utility partners, and public groups and private financiers as well. For this project, we partnered with We Act for Environmental Justice, Brooklyn Movement Center, Green City Force, the New York City Community Energy Cooperative, SunWealth, NYCHA, and Con Edison. So it takes a village, it really does, but right now we're nearly done with construction of these systems. People should start seeing the credits on their bill pretty soon, which means that they're saving money on energy costs with this program. And again, those are all low and moderate income households in New York City. And the next slide is some images of the construction. And again, I think one of the things that was really exciting with this project is being able to bridge our Here Comes Solar program that provides technical assistance for solar projects with our workforce training and development program that Max is going to speak about in a little bit, who trained up NYCHA residents in solar energy installation skills. And then they were able to actually use those skills on the job site for these projects. So thanks, everybody. I think I'm the last one to go from our Here Comes Solar team, and enjoy the rest of the show. I'll pass it back to Sarah.
Thank you so much, Juan. And thank you to the Here Comes Solar team. It's really amazing the amount of projects that you make come to life. And, you know, we've been talking about the just transition and how critical it is for folks who have been most impacted by the climate crisis and by the COVID-19 pandemic to have access to these growing family sustaining careers in the solar industry. And with that, I would like to introduce our next speaker, Max Levitzke, who is the program director for the Green Workforce Training Program, who can tell you more about our workforce program and introduce one of our program graduates who will also be speaking with you this evening.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Like Sarah said, my name is Max. I'm the director for the Green Workforce Program. For over a decade now, our program has been partnering with other like-minded organizations across the city to provide hard skills, hands-on training and education in the broader sustainability, renewable energy, and energy efficiency fields, primarily to underserved communities across the city. To date, we've delivered training to over 4,000 people in the fields of green construction, building operations and maintenance, solar PV, and energy efficient heating and cooling. These programs prepare folks for jobs in a booming sector and help them reach pathways to achieve a steady wage and consistent career growth far past their time at Solar One. In order for New York City, New York State, and the country as a whole to achieve our very ambitious climate goals, a properly trained workforce is critical in order for real change to take place. I'd like to turn it over to Keith Ford to talk about his experience with the Green Workforce Program and how it's helped him since his graduation. Keith was a previous Solar One student with one of our very close workforce partners, Green City Force. Keith, you can take it away.
Right. Hi, good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? Hope you're doing well. Again, for those of you that don't know, my name is Keith Ford, an alum of the Solar One program and alum of also Green City Force. I would like to start by saying that this program was phenomenal. It helped me get my foot in the door in terms of my career and what I'm currently doing now. I'm the manager with Green Tech Leaders, and I help manage the contracts and run the trainings for the Wildan Clean Energy Academy. Now, prior to starting with Solar One, or with Green City Force, if you will, I had no idea about energy efficiency, or I couldn't tell you the difference between an incandescent and an LED, right? And as I was able to put my best foot forward, and participate in this program, I can't continue to extend the thank yous enough, right? Which is why I'm here today to share a bit of my story, right? And as a testament to this, I'm currently at another event now, as per my line of work. So sorry guys, you could imagine I'm a very busy gentleman now more than ever, right? And prior to most of this, I was really struggling through college. You know, I was going through a living situation where I was homeless. I didn't really have any sense of direction. And Green City Force, and then later on, Solar One actually helped me get a sense of direction. And I'm in the position where I want to be. And you could say that Solar One has given me the teaching bug, if you will. You know, it put me in a position to where I'm now giving back to those who were once in my seat. You know, I managed to go through the full program, and now I'm there watching the next generation progress as well. And I get to aid in that growth. So again, to Solar One, thank you for the opportunity, and I really appreciate it. And I hope that you guys can see the impact that programs like this have on youth coming up in the industry.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, Keith, and thanks for being here today. It really means a lot to us, and I am excited to hear you caught that teaching bug and that you're passing down more training opportunities to get to continue to grow our green workforce here in New York City. So thank you all once again for your support and for your attention. If you'd like to offer even more support through another donation, we're going to put the link in the chat one more time. We really can't do this without your help. And now I would like to turn it over to our Executive Director, Chris Collins, to share closing thoughts and thank yous.
Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it. I guess the cat's out of the bag. I am retiring at the end of this year, and this is my last formal fundraising event for Solar One. And over the course of the last 17 years, I've met or worked with most of all of you, and it's been a privilege and honor doing so. From the very first year that we started, we realized that we knew we couldn't do this alone. We recognized that the only way to scale our programs and impact was through partnering. And tonight you have had a chance to hear from a few of those partners. New York City is a big sandbox, and there's lots of room for lots of people to play in it. And we realized that that was the case, and we decided that that was a way for us to grow and build our programs. And we're deeply indebted to all the partners who we work with. But the climate crisis just got more real and urgent. As Bill McKibben said earlier this week, climate change has progressed so far that individual actions are not enough to walk us back from the ledge. In the beginning, we used to say everyone can make a difference, switch out a light bulb, drive an electric car, plant a tree, and so on. And we still must do all of those things. But we need to scale climate solutions and drive political support for them. The programs you heard about tonight have scaled and are continuing to scale through our work with many governmental and institutional partners like NYSERDA, Department of Education, HPD, Mayor's Office of Sustainability, NYCHA, or through our work with environmental justice organizations throughout the city like We Act and Ambrose, or through our work with workforce partners like the Fortune Society and Strive and Green City Force. The point is that we've developed a solid foundation for scaling all of our programs to meet this urgent climate crisis that is upon us now. It is no longer coming, it is here. And for that reason, I hope you'll consider recommitting to the fight with an additional contribution to Solar One. In the coming days and weeks, we'll be reaching out to you to solicit your support, and I hope you'll consider making a generous donation to Solar One at that time. I'd like to once again thank our speakers tonight and our sponsors, Con Edison, Terry Henneke and Mike Ross, the Marietta and Andrew Romay Foundation, Best Energy Power, Brooklyn Solar Works, Inclusive Prosperity Capital, PKF O'Connor Davies, the Natural Resources Defense Council, Patricia and Stanley Grayson, and of course, all of you who have joined us today. I'd also like to acknowledge the Solar One Board of Directors. We have a group of about 15 board members. They're all volunteers, and we forget that sometimes, but that's a real big commitment. They devote countless hours to making sure that we are on firm financial footing. And I thank them for everything that they do for Solar One. I'd also like to call out the staff of Solar One. The staff are what makes Solar One special and known, and it makes us known as the Get It Done organization. They're both the backbone and the heart of Solar One. They have my enduring support, and thanks for making my job easier than most. And finally, I want to thank all of our partners and funders who support our work. We have a fairly extensive list here that you can see on the screen. We've listed many of them, and they provide the resources and guidance to enable us to do our work effectively and efficiently. So I want to thank you and acknowledge all of you for all of your support over the years. Now it's my honor to introduce Solar One board member and Senior Vice President at Con Ed, Kathy Bowden, who's recorded our final message of the evening.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Bowden, and I'm a Senior Vice President at Consolidated Edison Company of New York. Con Edison has been a consistent supporter of Solar One since 2003, with a primary interest on education. And I've been fortunate to get to know the organization and some of its key players, as I've been a board member for about a decade. As a board member, I'm very happy to have the opportunity to tell you a little bit about the good Solar One does for clean energy in our community. The initial grants from Con Edison helped Solar One build a program focused on the importance of energy efficiency in New York City, targeting New York City schools. Con Ed helped to develop the Green Design Lab program, which used the school building as a laboratory to teach about the knowledge, use, and conservation of energy, food, water, and materials. The program has grown over the years and has reached more than 1,000 New York City schools. Con Edison also played a role in helping Solar One launch the Energy Challenge in New York City schools from 2010 to 2015, where more than 100 schools competed to reduce energy use in their school over a 1 to 4 month period. Many schools reduced energy use by 20 to 30% from a comparable period a year before. That is energy efficiency in action, and it yielded lower energy consumption bills for the schools to boot. Over the past 2 decades, Con Ed has provided funding for programs and has also engaged its own employees to serve as mentors to students attending Solar One programs. They've supported Solar One career fairs that helped engage students to look at clean energy careers. In every case, the employees take away a rewarding experience in being able to help others learn and grow as they build New York City's clean energy future. Con Edison has also been a critical partner in Solar One's community power program with the Here Comes Solar initiative, providing renewable energy access within New York City's diverse communities, along with workforce training. And finally, Con Edison has been an ongoing supporter of the Solar One Environmental Education Center on the East River near 23rd Street, and has recently awarded Solar One a $250,000 capital grant to help the operation of the building and its startup once it opens. As a corporate contributor, Con Edison is thrilled to be able to support an organization that educates, builds, and acts on clean energy in our community and complements the utility scale clean energy efforts that we drive all day, every day to energize New York City and Westchester County. Due to the attention to detail provided by the founding executive director, Chris Collins, the diligence and expertise of the program staff, Noah Ginsburg and Sara Pidgeon, and the noteworthy contributions of newer dedicated staff members, Nancy Weber and Sarah Radelet, as well as the entire organization behind them, I've seen Solar One continuously learn, grow, and adapt, even in the face of an unprecedented pandemic. And they are an organization that is uniquely poised to take on green energy education, climate resilience and adaptation in New York City and beyond. So thank you, Solar One, for being an integral part of our clean energy community.
thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Thanks to Kathy and Con Edison for your support over the years. I hope that each of you were able to learn something new about Solar One this evening. Happy Climate Week. Every week should be Climate Week. And I hope to see all of you at future Solar One events. Please stay in touch. You can email us at development@solarone.org. Thank you all. Have a great evening.